Right. Oh no, it won't because it's not loading. Never mind. Cool. Right, let's have another go. I don't know whether anyone will actually find it now because. Actually, I say that we've got one viewer.
Hello.
Big shout out to the one viewer. Oh, it's stopped again. What is that?
Have I got time to go to the loo?
No, it's already live, Mum. But I say that I'm not sure it's streaming properly because I think the internet might be too slow. Which is feeble, so it should be sound, but I don't know. We'll give it a go anyway. Cool. Right. Yeah, welcome back. Had a brief hiatus for a technical procedure involving me throwing my laptop out the window. Doesn't look like it's streaming, to be fair. I think it's probably glitchy at the other end. But anyway, hopefully you can see us. If you can't, then sorry about that. It's the internet's not great here at the moment. But yes, you join us live in my mum's house in Wales, where I am a support bubble. We're going to play a couple of tunes and talk a little bit about the tunes and what chords are in them and stuff like that.
Are we starting from the beginning again? Are we doing that?
Yeah, we might as well, mightn't we?
And
yeah.
so you want them 2 or 3 times because I didn't ask.
3's fine. Yeah, 3's good.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we've got Last Train to Lockery, which is actually a 4-parter, but I play it as a 2-parter because I found it a bit repetitive. The Whistler at the Wake and The Lost and Found, and it was D, D and G, wasn't it? Right.
Yeah. you are out there, just out of curiosity, stick a little comment in the comments box and let us know whether this is streaming properly. I mean, there's six people out there watching, so it must be passable. Unless they're just getting odd little snippets now and again, but yeah.
Could be cursing us to the heavens, couldn't they?
Maybe they just think we're some amazing, like, mime mute kind of act or something. Yeah. Anyway, those were some tunes in major keys. Not a lot to report really. I like to, if I'm in the key of D, for example, I quite like to try and keep upper notes in common in chords. I talk about this a lot, particularly for the key of D. If you've got chords like D, G, A, it's really nice to keep your ring finger in the same place between those three chords. So if you play G like that, what I call country G, with your ring finger on the 3rd fret of the B string and your little finger on the top string, turn around so you can see it. And then for A, I tend to play kind of A7 sus4, which is a really nice kind of suspended chord, and it also keeps that finger in common with the other two, so it's really easy to use that one finger as an anchor then to change between the three shapes. So that's a handy thing that you can think about if you're in the key of D. I also like to do it in other keys, so with the tune towards the end there in the key of G, if you're using these kind of open position chords again, if you start out with that country G chord where you've got two fingers at the top instead of just your ring finger on the top string, then you can move your index and middle fingers up a string and get like a kind of country C, and then keep those two fingers at the top again and play a D chord but with those two fingers kept on, and that's a D sus4 chord. That kind of thing. Hey Chrissy, thanks for tuning in. Hi Andy, music sounds great, video's a bit stuttery. Oh, that's good, cool, as long as the audio's working, that's the important bit, isn't it? Wicked. With that thing with G as well, you can actually keep those fingers on at the top and do E minor, sort of Oasis E minor out of Wonderwall, with your spare two fingers, if you like, making the actual E minor chord. And you can move those two fingers up a string and get A minor as well. And from that A minor chord, if you move your index finger down a string, you get a kind of B minor. So you can pretty much, you can get the whole chord scale and keep two notes at the top. That's always a fun thing to think about if you are looking for chord changes that are really easy to do at speed. And it also kind of glues your whole progression together because you've got that nice solid set of ringing notes at the top. Very kind of folky sound, which is quite nice. Oh, thank you, Stephen. Stephen says, streaming now, wonderful music, many thanks.
Oh, thanks.
And Joe Castle, hello. Thanks for tuning in.
Different names since last time I did this with you.
Yeah, there's a few new people.
Great.
Well, Andy has guitar lessons off me. Chrissy watches all the time. Oh, hang on. No, I've read that wrong. It's not Chrissy, it's Mark McClellan. Sorry, Mark. I can't see properly from over here, so thank you for tuning in. Joe Castle is new, and Stephen, I believe, has my first book, if I remember rightly.
Excellent.
So, thank you to Stephen.
Do you want some reels next?
Yeah, that'd be good. Yeah.
And now I asked for a sort of really brilliant old reel. What's it called? I've got a star.
Star Monster.
Star of Munster, and followed by another brilliant but very well known reel, Farewell to Erin.
fine, but stuttery on music, yeah. Oh, Stephen Block. Oh, not totally sure how you pronounce that. Sorry, Stephen. But Stephen Block is in Cape Town, South Africa.
Wow.
Amazing. That's cool. Who else have we got? Mike M. Very peaceful. Thank you, Mike. Yeah, there's that tune. That last tune. Is it a C sharp or is it a C natural or is it like a bit of both?
Have me because I have a habit of doing hybrid Cs.
Well, I like it.
You have to check on the session.
What's it called? The tune?
Farewell Dwerin.
Farewell Dwerin. Yeah.
Or Ireland. Sometimes it's because there's another tune. There's a tune called Farewell Erin, which is different.
Right.
And I think technically to Ireland, but everybody I know calls it Farewell to Erin.
Right.
I'm doing C sharp.
Right. Yeah, that's an interesting tune because it's Mixolydian then. Da 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 da. There's your flattened seventh. So it's in A Mixolydian, but it's quite unusual. It sounds, I don't know. It sounds. I like messing about with it. It sounds sort of Mixolydian-y and sort of a bit minor-y as well. So I was playing like an A7 chord for the one chord because it starts on a dominant chord. I was also playing a 7 chord for chord 7 because, as I've said in previous videos about adding tetrads, you can always play a dominant chord for chord 7 in any mode other than the Ionian mode. But as well as that, for my own amusement, I was kind of borrowing chord 4 from the Dorian, which makes chord 4 a dominant chord as well. So I've got a proper like bluesy feel going on because we've got A major as chord, A7 as chord 1, G7 as chord 7, and D9 as chord 4. And that's actually a C7 chord that I'm playing as chord 3 as well, so that's very much outside the traditional realms of folk music chord selection, but so basically what I've done there is taken bits of the Dorian mode and bits of the Mixolydian mode and combined them together, and I think it works okay, probably because of what you were saying about the C's being kind of between C natural and C sharp. Bits of both notes kind of fit nicely. I couldn't honestly tell you
which version of C I was playing in the middle.
I was also messing around with, I like messing around with folk tunes with bossa nova rhythms, because I used to play in a band that played bossa nova, so quite fun over reels sometimes. So yeah, that's an interesting one to have a little play with if you're ever feeling like rhythmic variation is needed in your folk life.
Something else?
Yeah, what else we got?
Marines and the Cliffs of Moher. So the Cliffs of Moher is a really classic old one, lovely tune.
It's a free play along for that as well if you want to practice playing this tune, and it's got on-screen guitar chords. It's on the Folk Friend channel and the Folk Friend website. If you go on the videos page, it's on there for free.
Marines I need music for because it's a fairly recent one. So. How many times do you want Marines? It's a 4-part, isn't it?
Oh right, okay, maybe just twice, yeah.
actually got Marines 3 times.
Oh right, oh very nice.
I thought it sounded nice, so
It's nice that tune, yeah. It sounds like it's very, it suits being called a C name. It's very kind of under the surface, that tune, isn't it? Like it doesn't really, it builds up and then it kind of ebbs again and it sort of, you know, undulates.
I like the little pause where you sort of miss a bit of the bar. It's very nice.
Right then, what can we say about those? Marines is the same, guitar-wise, was doing the same kind of thing with keeping the D note on the 3rd fret of the B string throughout all the chords in that tune. I very often do that just partly out of laziness and partly because I like the sound of it. With that one I was leaving the open E at the top a lot as well, which kind of adds a 9th to your D chord, and then it adds a sort of very suspended kind of wistful quality to it, which I think just suits that tune nicely. So if you take a D chord and just take the middle finger off it, and then hook your thumb around the back to get D over F sharp, and then go to G, but instead of your ring finger being on the top string, it stays on the B string, then you've got a really nice little chord progression to kind of play around with. The second tune, yeah, there's loads of great stuff you can do with Cliffs of Moher. One shape that you need to know if you're playing in A minor is like super useful for A minor. If you loop your thumb around the back so it's on the 5th fret of the bottom string, then you've got an A. You've got an A string, which is another A. You make a little mini bar with your index finger, so you're on the top couple of strings on the 5th fret there. Hiya WYSIWYG, thanks for tuning in. So that gives you like an A minor 7 top, and if you put that ring finger on the 7th fret there as well, on the G string, then you've got, at the bottom there, you've got A, another A the same, an A an octave above, and then on the top 3 strings a minor 3rd, a 5th, and another top A. So that gives you a real big beefy A minor chord. And from that you can do all sorts of things. If you put your little finger on F, you've got a kind of F chord, which is an F major 7. You can move your little finger and your ring finger down a string from there to get C. So and then you've got this E minor shape, which is an E minor 7, like that. So if you use that in conjunction with these couple of shapes, you can get some really nice chord progressions. And it's all nice kind of closed hand shapes like that, which means you can switch between all of them quickly, and they're not too hard on your left hand for holding the shapes down. We've got some questions about your whistles, Mum.
Alright.
Hiya, just caught the last 2 minutes. Nice fluteling. Was that a D whistle on the last tune?
Yes.
That's it.
Big D and then little D. And actually we have got the only other whistle I really use, a C whistle. So I've got some C whistle jigs coming up.
Oh, nice. Look at that, top segue.
I just finished doing cough sweet, so.
Oh, right, okay.
I'm just getting a cat in his throat.
While we wait for the cough sweet break, sponsored by Hall. I don't know if I'm allowed to say that on here, but.
So I've got crabs in a skillet and over the mangle pit, which we decided were in G minor.
Oh, okay.
Is that right? We talked about this earlier.
If it on the C whistle, yeah, they will be. Yeah.
They can be D minor, but they're G. They are G minor.
Right.
Glasses on. I don't want to lose it.
A lot of damping with the heel of your palm. Yes. Yeah. Damping wise, I really like. There's two different methods of damping that I like messing about with. One of them is smacking my poor guitar. You can do a lot with that. I really like those kind of little scar chop things, and put in some sort of palmly off beats like a snare drum. I also enjoy. I tend to do that if I'm strumming jigs as well. But the other really important type of muting that you don't see maybe folk world is the left hand muting, because particularly I always use chords where I'm fretting as many strings as possible if I'm not playing loudly, because that way you've got loads of control even without your right hand having to do any muting. You can mute more or less with your left hand. So with my left hand, if I'm playing, for example, like that's, what's that, an E flat major 7 chord. If I play that like that, where I've got a finger on each string that I'm playing, I can choose to let go of my left hand, or even individually let go of individual fingers if I want to keep like a root and a fifth, or a root and a third in the chord, and let the others go. I can do that by choosing to slacken off my left hand, or part of it. Those kinds of things. So that way the right hand doesn't have to mute the notes when it plucks them. The right hand can be floating up in the air ready to do its little slap. So I can do root, pluck, let go of the left hand to stop that note, and then slap it with the right. And then that last one's just like a pluck while the left hand's still muted. So that's a thing that I often do, because I like I like the sort of miniature little tiny hints of a chord. The other plus with that is, of course, if you do play the wrong chord, nobody notices because you only hear it for like a fraction of a second. So it's more about the percussion than the actual chord choices with that method, which is nice. So yeah, that's quite fun to play with.
When there's just playing and there's no sort of bar-on play or any percussion, it's actually really nice and helpful to have that going along as well as the general playing.
I mean, I don't generally do that. I tend to do it when I'm playing with you, because if it's just the two of us, it's quite quiet, the low whistle. Actually hear it over if I'm strumming normally.
Yeah.
So
but it just helps to kind of keep everything together and keep it silent.
Yeah.
And it works just like an extra instrument, and a bit of percussion.
Yeah. Yeah, it's your own free drummer that you don't have to pay. We got any more?
Yeah. Sorry, as folk musicians, you're meant to know everything off by heart, but when I've got newish things, it takes a while for them to bed in, so I'm going to have my trusty notebook, which is, I don't know, it's not as old as all the years that I've been playing, because I changed it in the middle, but this one's about 20 years old. There we are. It has various tunes scribbled and pasted into it. There's 2 reels, the long drop and the singing stream.
like to do a key change?
Yeah. Sorry about that.
That's alright, no worries.
I went blank in the middle.
Ever opened D to 12 string? No, I haven't actually. I had a guitar. I had a 12-string guitar years ago, yeah, I had a 12-string years and years ago, and I couldn't actually play the thing because the action was way too high on it, and at the time I didn't know how to change it. Do you remember that, Mum?
I did.
Yeah.
It sounded very nice, actually.
Yeah, it was just impossible to play because it had like heavy strings on it as well, so it was a nightmare because the strings were really high. I didn't know that you could change that at the time, so I sold it after about a year, didn't I? I think.
Yeah.
I used it for a school project once, I think.
That
That's about it. A long time ago. So yeah, no, never tried that WYSIWYG. It sounds like fun though. Diddly-dee. What's that? You follow with a slower guitar style. Interested in your slower style? Do you mean the sort of half-time bit? That kind of half-time thingy. I'm not sure if that's what you meant, but I'm gonna actually. That was one thing I wanted to say on this stream anyway. Was that it's quite fun if you're, if like me you enjoy electronic music, which I appreciate. Probably doesn't have a huge following in the audience for these things, but particularly genres like drum and bass, which is all based around chopping up drum breaks in novel ways. One of the things that I really like is when you get like a classic drum break, like the Amen break, and then you'll find someone that's chopped it into like, or you know, so they're looping one beat or taking the same patterns, but making it so that it's half time. What would that make it? Like dubstep, for example. Dubstep's all half the percussion is at one speed, and the actual kicks and the snares are at half the speed of it. So anyway, that's a thing that I often do if I've been playing a reel for a while. Is kind of split my guitar accompaniment so that I'm suddenly playing at half the speed and putting like a mute on beats, beat 3 of the bar, whereas normally I'd do a bass note on beat 1 and a mute on beat 2, or like a big down strum on beat 2, and then a bass on beat 3 and a down strum on beat 4. If you change it so that you're doing like a strum on beat 1, nothing much on beat 2, and then like a snare effectively, or like a muted strum on beat 3, then you get that really cool half-time effect, which is quite fun. Dub is fab, yeah, damn straight. Especially if you've got a delay pedal as well. I mean, that's hours of amusement in it. But yeah, that's about it for that one, really. Anything else particularly interesting to say about it? Oh, one thing that's nice as well, if you're ever, you can like, basically B minor, F sharp minor, G, E minor, you can always make nice funky things by leading into any of the chords from one note either side in the scale. Like that. So I'm using my open bottom E string to lead into the F sharp minor, G, and then down via F sharp to the E. So it's always, you can always use a little bass approach note like that in any chord progression, and as long as you use notes from within the scale that you're in, it'll always sound cool. One more set?
Yeah, it could be those set of reels, which the first one might go a bit peculiar, or we could do straightaway child jig. I don't know if we did it before on the stream.
Don't know. Do it again.
So, Mist-Covered Mountain and then straightaway child.
Right, okay. A major 7 is always nice. Yeah, major 7s are great. I put an F major 7 on the first tune. Hey Pedro, thanks for tuning in. Sorry, I didn't spot you before. Great player, your mum.
Oh.
Hey.
That's some
Mayor Harrison's Fedora.
Major Harrison's Fedora.
Do you know that one, Mum?
I could probably muster it if I look at my book. Yeah.
Interesting. We'll have to have a look at that at some point.
Yeah.
Never heard of it, to be honest, but
yeah, it's in my book.
Clap. Thanks, Pedro. Cheers. Oh dear. Jazzy chords. There's just there's one thing. I don't know if you're watching out there somewhere. If you are still watching, this is for you. You know the arpeggios that we were doing last week. If you're playing arpeggios like the minor 7, so that song's in that last tune's in E Dorian. So if you play the E minor 7 arpeggio, that's your E minor 7 chord. And then likewise, if you did the A7 one, that's an A7 chord, and I just leave the top 2 strings in. So that's what one of the things those arpeggios are useful for, is when you're trying to build chords on the fly, you know what your starting point is for the right type of chord for the key, and then you just add extra notes from the scale on top of it, either to taste or to convenience. That would be a C major 7 one, so I can make a nice chord out of that. And that's kind of suitable for G. So there's, as long as you know what key you're in and what type of 7 chord you need for each of the 6 main chords in that key, if you play the relevant arpeggio, that'll give you a kind of starting point for a chord that'll work for that. And it's a nice way to find some sort of unusual chord voicings, particularly in any key that's to do with E, because you've got an E string and a B string, which is E's root and fifth, so you can always leave them at the top, so that makes your fingerings really easy. And likewise for E major. Also works if you're in the key of A major, your top 2 strings sound nice, so you can do those kinds of things, and just leave the top 2 strings in there. So that's a good little fun thing to play about with, is find all the tetrad arpeggios for whatever mode you're in, and see if you can find any nice chord voicings using that. Buy yourself a mandola. I might do. You never know. Down the line somewhere. I've got a banjo and a fiddle that you never see me play, so maybe I'll put it on the pile. And an accordion. Come to that.
Mandola's the only instrument that you've actually had.
I have had a mandola actually. I had a Blue Moon one, didn't I, for a couple of years.
Oh, nice.
And I got rid of that and got a banjo in the end, didn't I? I got the Countryman tenor banjo that we had. I still got. It's in the shop actually.
Oh, very good.
So yeah, the banjo got the mandola got morphed into a tenor banjo. One other thing on chords, and then I will go. One other thing on chords is sometimes, particularly with bar chords, if you're playing like playing an E minor 7 as a bar chord, and then when I get to playing chord 5, which is B minor, I'm going to play a B minor 7, but what I do first is play it in the second inversion so that it's not got its bass note, and then I stick the bass note on, and adds a real sense of like kind of sucking into the next chord a little bit, like it sort of adds a lot of movement to your chord progressions. And likewise I might do it then with chord 4 A minor, something like that. Little think about. And if you were in other minor keys, if you were in A minor for example, you could do it with the E minor chord, so you could play your little E minor triangle chord, E minor 7, like that, but just play it so that you've only got those 2 fingers and you're only playing the top 4 strings. So now it's got its minor 3rd at the bottom, which is under your index finger there, and then stick the rest of the chord on halfway through the bar or something, so that it's, you know. Those kinds of things are quite fun. And one more thing as well, if you were in A minor, you could